All right, we're back, sort of.
Yes. What shirt are you wearing? Because it just looks like it's a black... Oh, you've been Denise?
I really like this shirt. It's got like the vintage vibe to it. It's also an XXL, which is not only way too large for you, but excessively large for me.
Yeah, it speaks volumes as to what your sister thought I was when she bought that shirt for me. She must have thought, well, my dad's the size of an elephant.
And you've lost weight, so actually, yeah, I don't. Well,
Yeah.
no, I guess I don't know. Anyway. All right, so Dad, what are we talking about today?
Nissan and their idea of bringing back their stair-step incentive programs for their dealers. It's a great topic.
You seem very passionate about this. So you never worked for? Did you? I know you worked for a Nissan dealership at one point in time.
Just for 12 years, buddy. Just for 12 years.
Admiral Nissan, yeah, down there in Pleasantville, New Jersey, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you've worked for Nissan before, and obviously for all the different manufacturers that you had a privilege of selling their vehicles, you've run into stair-step programs before. Can you explain to our audience what a stair-step program is, how it kind of incentivizes the sales staff, and your 2 cents on why it's really not the best thing for the industry?
Stair-step programs or incentive programs for dealerships are based on hitting various volume percentages of attainment. Let's say, just for argument's sake, that your monthly sales goal is 100 new units. You hit 100 new units and you might get paid $500 per car for hitting those 100 units. You reach 110% of your objective, which would be 110 cars.
Be careful, your math skills are a little too...
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to make it easy. So then that might go up to $750 per car, retroactive back to car one. If you hit 120% of objective, or 120 cars, it might go to $1,000 per car, retroactive back to car one. So what stair-step incentives do is it incentivizes dealers at the beginning of the month to just figure, well, we've got to prostitute ourselves on every one of these cars to reach those objectives. And so they start by giving cars away early on. And what it does is it cheapens the perception and the value of the brand that you're actually representing. If you're just chasing volume and you're not chasing profits at all, and let's face it, these dealerships are built to be profit-making organizations. But if the manufacturer has set it up that whatever profit you're going to make on the sale of cars is going to come directly from them and not from the customers, then you're chasing the wrong things. You're not selling the value of the product, you're just pushing the product. You're cheapening the product in order to move more of them. And ultimately, that destroys the brand. It destroys the value of the brand. It drives down residual values and drives down trade-in values and resale values. So ultimately, it has a negative impact. That's just my 2 cents.
It artificially overinflates the initial MSRP value of the vehicles too, right? Because you're essentially building in from a manufacturer standpoint, hey, we're budgeting for $1,000 per car to essentially go back to the dealer. It's just across the board overinflating the perceived value and the actual value of the vehicle, right?
It seems to me, from having done this for a few weeks now, that manufacturers would be much better off basing the price, the MSRP of the car, on what the transaction prices have averaged out to be, and not forcing the dealers to just violate the true value of the cars. If Nissan says the car is $30,000, but they know that they're going to give a dealer upwards of $1,000 extra per car, well then why don't they just make the MSRP $29,000? and allow the dealer to discount the car, whatever it needs to be discounted in order to sell it, but there's no additional reward from the manufacturer for having sold it. Everything has a value, but the one thing that doesn't get sold often enough, at least in most of the dealerships I've ever worked in, is the value of the product that you're selling. What gets sold is the deal. You know, if I get you a good deal today, Zach, would you take the new car home with you? It's not.
Yeah, but
if I can prove the value to you exceeds what I'm asking for the car, would that help?
I mean, you're selling commodities though, so I get what you're trying to say, but cars are commodities, and so selling the value of a car, sure, it works when you're looking at, you know, luxury brands of vehicles, because you have to convince someone, you know, now you're at that point, you're not buying a commodity, you're not buying transportation.
Yes, you are. You're still buying a commodity, and if you use your logic, Apple's a commodity, okay? But Apple gets all the money for their products. Why? Because they've convinced the public that they're worth that value, that there's value in that price point. They're not just selling volume, they're selling the value of their product. They've built their whole empire on value. We're going to charge you more than everybody else. You're going to gladly pay more than everybody else because we're going to give you more than everybody else. It's no different than a car. Why can't a car be sold that way?
Perceived to give you more than everybody else, right? Perception, right? You're selling that.
Well, sure.
Who knows? Yeah. Okay, so do you think that with Nissan re-announcing or announcing that they're going back to their stair-step program, that this is a step in the wrong direction for the brand, a brand that has endured a lot of, you know, turbulence over the past year, and especially amidst coronavirus? I mean, there's talk even in some of the different publications about Infiniti not necessarily making it through this. Nissan could potentially not make it through this. What's your take on the brand overall, and if this is a step in the right direction or the wrong direction?
Well, the dealer body feels it's a step in the wrong direction because it creates an unequal playing field, and typically, in order to push these programs, the amount of growth that's expected is astronomical when compared to reality. A lot of the dealers were already complaining because the September sales goals were 30% higher than their August sales goals, and traditionally September has been a slower month than August in all these years. So there's only one way to compete when they do that to you. And so the dealers hate it because it cuts into profit margins, it cuts into the value of the product that they're selling. And I don't blame the dealers for hating it. You're chasing the wrong goal. The goal should be, how do you sell a car and keep a customer happy? And the goal now is, well, how do I sell a car? They don't give a shit about keeping the customer happy at this point. The only way they're going to make money is, well, we have to sell enough cars so that Nissan pays us to survive. That's the wrong attitude. That's not customer-centric.
Yeah, and I'll put it up on the screen. NADA, the big research body, the National Automotive Dealers Association, they put out an annual report on the finances of dealerships, and it's quite, I mean, I don't want to say it's humorous, but it is kind of interesting. You look at it, it's like on a per car basis, they lose $92 per new car sold, and then you look at the factory incentives. As a dealer body throughout the year, they make like $1.2 million. I'll put it up on the screen, but it's like, so it's not Nissan specific, but Nissan's moving back to a stair-step oriented program, which is a specific type of incentive program. And so I hear exactly what you're saying, Dad. I guess my final question for you though is, as a car buyer, is this a good thing or a bad thing for me? If I'm in the market for a Nissan Rogue, I don't know why it would be, but if you are, you know, what's the takeaway there for a car buyer?
Well, yes. Could you save money as a car buyer? Yes, you could save money on the initial purchase. Is it going to cause the vehicle to depreciate more than it could have or should have over the course of time because of it? Yes, that's what's going to happen. So the value of what you're buying is going to go down quicker because of the stair-step program. So initially you think you're saving money, but when you go to get rid of that Rogue, you're going to realize exactly how much money you just lost because of that stair-step program. So the initial comfort is there, and ultimately there's a giant discomfort at the end of it.
Yeah, to me, it kind of perpetuates the issue with car buying in general, which is this perception that I need to negotiate real hard and I need to win. And it's like in this case, if you're buying a Nissan, you can negotiate real hard and you can win in the sense that the dealer is incentivized to let you feel like you're winning and actually give away, take off money from MSRP. But that MSRP is a kooky number to begin with because they've devalued the brand through these volume or stair-step based incentives. Have I summed it up?
I think so. You got the gist.
I got the gist.
Yes, you did.
All right, Pops. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you for talking through this. And yeah, I don't think I'm going to be buying a Nissan, so not too helpful for me, but big picture, I get it.
Well, maybe they make a nice bike. We'll have to look into that.